For toe yoga, what we want to try and do is get the intrinsic value of the foot kind of back to where it was, like get our arch value back there, and we call it intrinsic value. It's the foot's like internal ability to create stability and produce force and transfer force from the ground up. When we lose it, we put a lot of pressure on our joints, and we don't have a good ground reaction force and a good force transfer. So what we want to think about doing is, if you look at kind of like this foot here, we have kind of our arches that go through the system. So we have the big medial arch here that a lot of people know of. We've got this little lateral one, and then we've got this transverse arch that kind of goes right behind like where your toes would kind of start to the metatarsals there, right? What we want to think about is we have a triangle of the foot. So big toe, little toe, and heel makes a triangle. We want to try and think about creating an active foot and making that triangle shorter. So we're going to kind of grip the floor with it. Notice how I'm not curling the toes or anything else like that. I'm just pulling it together, and I'm kind of shortening up my stride, my foot there. I'm creating an active foot. That's step one. Step two then would be to splay the toes. So we create the active foot, and then we splay the toes. So I want you to think, just spread them about and apart, and this is where your toes might get kind of like cramp up. You might feel cramp in your foot, anything else like that. But you're really just trying to splay them and get them apart, right? And you can do it on both sides of your feet and just really splay. So grab the floor and then splay and reach with them and splay them out and kind of grab that floor again. So that's step two. And notice on this one I'm sitting. I can do this in a chair. I can do this in a half kneeling position. The hardest position is doing it standing, and then going to single leg standing and then eyes closed standing, right? So there's different progressions built into there. So I'll do about 10 of each of those, and I don't want to move on to the next one until I can get that one done. Okay, that's the other big thing. Once I get that, I'll get my splay. I'm going to leave my 4 little toes down, and I'm going to lift the metatarsal 1, the big toe, keep my active foot, but now I'm just going to move that. Okay, move it up and down. Step 4 then is releasing the 4 little toes while keeping the big toe down. Okay, so I'm lifting and coming back down. Okay, step 5, grip the floor, active floor, keep the little toe, pinky toe, and big toe down, and I'll lift the 3 middle ones there. Okay, so I'm just lifting those up. Woo! Struggling a little bit in that pinky toe. And I usually get better, you will too, as you warm up, right? This is kind of me going in cold. So you want to grip in that floor, and then you're going to lift those 3 up in the middle and come back down, okay? When you get good at that, then that kind of final step is like lift your foot off the floor and then reach down with your pinky toe, little toes kind of in between, and then big toe, and then you're going to run the rack back up, okay? So you're kind of teaching your body a little bit more of that mechanics through there, and you can go in the reverse style too, so you can go big toe down. This is a harder one for me. So you see I'm reaching there, and the pinky toe kind of beat it. But I think about it like your fingertips, right? If I were to run my fingertips through the floor and back and forth, you're kind of creating that value back in your foot. And you're getting the brain to recognize that too. This is a really big part to creating a stable foot, which is kind of like our first joint in the body. If we think about the joint by joint approach, we got the big toe that's kind of like our mobile joint here, right? And we got the foot, then we go to the ankle for our next mobile joint. This is that force, that stable force that kind of produces everything through it. We want to think of like a tennis ball. It's got that elastic property, produces a lot of good force for us. When we lose it, either when it stays like kind of round, right, when you land and it just kind of stays there and it doesn't produce good force, there's problems. If the arch is gone and your foot's flat, there's problems. If you're very supinated and invert the feet a lot, there's problems. If you lose the medial arch, there's problems. What we're trying to do is just create that neutral kind of base support of that foot, and toe yoga is kind of that way that we can rebuild that in going through it. Daily, sometimes twice daily, sometimes 3 times daily, really, really good for before a workout as well. Get that foot humming and get it fired up before your run, before your workout to really help. And obviously you can do it with shoes on, but it's done much better without shoes, and then you can kind of produce that over time with shoes and learn how to do it with your shoes on and help you with that in any case. That's toe yoga.